Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going back to Ball in the House's very first album from 1998 called Love Drug. So stick around for all kinds of dirt on the stories and recording of this album. All right, so picture this young up-and-coming a cappella group in Boston. We're playing Faneuil Hall all the time, and we're street performing, and we're collecting tips, but we got nothing to sell. So we figured, you know what? We don't really know what we want to do for an album. We're still trying to find ourselves, but let's just record something so we have something to sell. So we got into the studio, we recorded this album that became Love Drug, and we started selling it at Faneuil Hall, and it was a big help to us getting cash to be able to take photos, to be able to make demos, and so on, and move on from there. Now, we recorded the album with Jonathan Minkoff, who is now currently a member of Blue Jupiter. But he was studying for law school at the time in Boston, had a home studio, and we thought that was the coolest thing. Let's go record there. And so he recorded and produced the whole album for us. Now, if you know Ball in the House and you have no idea what this album is, it was also called From the Bin. And what happened with that is that once we started performing in schools later on, we started leaving CDs there on consignment, and the schools would sell them to kids, to teachers, and they would keep part of the money and send the rest back to us. And it was a great way to get some extra album sales. But when we had our second album, we were selling that, but we wanted to sell this album as well. But we didn't think something with drug in the title. So even though we get little heart candies here and the drug stuff wasn't literal, it's just something that we didn't feel comfortable leaving in schools, but wanted to have another album that we can sell. We redid the cover. We changed it to From the Bin because it was like our old album. Here are old songs that we had in the bin. Plus, one of the guys in the band, his nickname was Bin or Bang, as we said it back then. And we just thought that would be a fun name for the album when we came around to changing it. So we did. So whenever you see a reference to our very first album, it's usually Love Drug / From the Bin, because it depends which version of the album you got. Obviously, this one is the one that's a little bit rarer, but both albums, the music is exactly the same, and that's why we ended up changing the title to be able to sell the album on consignment in some of the schools we were playing. So let's go through this song by song. First track is Fire, Jimi Hendrix. Now, if you know Ball in the House right now, that song would make no sense in our repertoire. But back then, again, just trying to find our way and figure out what kind of thing we wanted to do, it was just a song that we liked. A big part of the reason why we did this song was in college, one of the guys I sang with, Chat, he was a huge Hendrix fan, and the two of us used to do this song a cappella. We kind of just on the spot arranged this when we were drinking. We would just end up doing this version of Fire with the two of us, and I thought, hey, maybe this would work for a full band if I had some extra people to record some parts, and that's kind of where that song came from. And you know, the version's not too bad. So track 2 is the title track, Love Drug, and this was written by Dave and a little bit me, and was not our first original, but was Dave's first original, and so something that he was really proud of. All right, track 3, Summer of '69. This one has a whole story associated with it. It was the song that I arranged for another group, brought to Ball in the House. Jeff, the co-founder of Ball in the House, sang the lead. But Jeff had developed nodes and he was leaving the group. We brought in Ryan Bailing as his replacement, but we were going to stick Jeff on the album. And because of the nodes, now he didn't know he had nodes at the time. He was just having a lot of trouble singing. And so Jonathan, the producer, suggested that really just try and rock it out and push the hoarseness in his voice to just fully embrace the rasp. I thought it was kind of cool, but nobody else liked it. And we ended up replacing the lead with Ryan. Well, I said, look, Jeff is a founder of the group. If we do this, we have to tell him. We can't just change it and not let him know, you know? I know he knows he's done. He's not recording any of the other stuff on the album. But if we take away this one solo, you know, this is his legacy. We have to do something. And I said, look, I'm rooming with him. He's my best friend. He's the founder. This is going to be really hard. If you all want to make that decision, you have to tell him. And so they said, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it fine. So later on, after the album comes out, turns out that nobody told them. And so when Jeff, and this is just crappy. So he picks up the album and he's looking through the stuff. He's looking through the leads and he sees that he was replaced and just Oh, he was so mad. That's how we found out, because the other guys at the time did not have the guts to tell him. So crappy. Now, thankfully, Jeff and I are still good friends to this day, but that was a really, really tough time. I should have really made sure that Jeff had known and just taken the responsibility if nobody else was gonna. But the thing was, they said they were, and they did not, and it just led to a really crap situation and big fight. But anyway, but things good now, and it's too bad we don't have Jeff's voice on that. But having sung with Jeff in college, I have a lot of recordings of him and I singing together there, so we can look back on that.